All right, let's be real for a second. The cannabis industry, it isn't some chill, laid-back venture. It's one of the most overregulated, overtaxed, and just brutally competitive arenas in business today. If you don't have a razor-sharp understanding of your numbers, you're not just at a disadvantage. You're basically a sitting duck. And that right there is the hard truth. You know, financial literacy isn't some nice-to-have skill for your accountant. No, it's the fundamental survival tool for every single operator in this space. Understanding your money is literally understanding your business's pulse. And that's exactly where the profit and loss statement, or P&L, comes in. This thing is not just some report your accountant sends you once a quarter. It's your compass. It's the story of your hustle told in cold, hard numbers. It is without a doubt the most powerful tool you have to navigate all the chaos. So let's break this thing down piece by piece. Once you really understand the anatomy of a P&L, you'll see it's not some intimidating document from a finance class. It's actually just a straightforward story about where your money comes from and, maybe more importantly, where it all goes. Okay, so it all starts at the very top with revenue. But listen, it's not just one number. First, you've got your gross sales. That's the total sticker price of everything you sold. Then you have to subtract all those discounts and promotions you ran. And what's left after that? That's your net sales. That's the number that really matters. It's the actual cash you put in the bank. Next up, we have the cost of goods sold, or what we call COGS. Now, these are the direct costs tied to the actual products that walk out your door. It's what you paid for that wholesale flower, the packaging it went into, those lab testing fees, any costs to get it to your shop. You get the idea. If you didn't sell the product, its cost isn't in your COGS for that period. Simple as that. And the math to get your gross profit? It's beautifully simple. You just take your net sales, in this case, 100 grand, and you subtract the cost of goods sold. That number, the $45,000 you see here, well, that represents your profit before you pay for rent or staff or any of your other overhead. This is the raw profitability of the stuff you sell. So after we figure out gross profit, we have to account for everything else it takes just to keep the lights on. And that's your operating expenses, or OPEX. This is all the essential stuff, right? Rent for your dispensary, your team's payroll, your marketing budget, the security systems, utilities. These are the costs of just doing business day in and day out. And this is where the cannabis reality really hits hard. I mean, look, every business has rents and marketing, but you have these massive licensing fees, crazy compliance costs, and of course, the absolutely brutal 280E tax code, which basically says you can't deduct most of these normal business expenses. So your OPEX isn't just higher, it's uniquely, punitively bloated by design. So after all of that, after all the sales and the costs and the expenses, we finally get to the most important line on the whole statement, net profit. This is it, the bottom line. It's your gross profit minus all those operating expenses. This single number tells you with zero ambiguity if your business actually made money or lost it. Okay, so you might be thinking, how do I actually build one of these things? Well, creating a P&L isn't some kind of mystical financial art. It's really just about taking all the numbers that are already floating around your business and organizing them into a powerful, clear story. It really boils down to 4 simple steps. First, you gather all your financial data. Second, you structure it in a basic spreadsheet, nothing fancy. Third, you just plug in the numbers where they go. And fourth, and this is by far the most important step, you review it religiously. I mean, at least every single month. This is not a one-and-done task. It has to become a habit. And the key thing to realize here is you're not hunting for new information. You already have all of this data. Your point of sale system has your sales numbers. Your vendor invoices track all your COGS. Your bank statements and payroll records show everything else. It is all right there, just waiting for you to organize it. Okay, so once the P&L is built, the real work begins. Because look, having the report is one thing, but knowing how to read it and actually make it work for you, that's everything. How do you translate these numbers into action? This is the key mindset shift you have to make. Stop seeing rows of numbers and start seeing a narrative. You know, is it a story of healthy margins and perfectly controlled spending? Or is it a horror story about bleeding cash on a product category that isn't performing? Or a payroll that's just spiraling out of control? A good P&L answers the absolute toughest questions in your business. It tells you definitively if you're profitable. It pinpoints exactly where you're overspending. It helps you decide if you can afford that new bud tender or if your vape margins are secretly dragging the whole store down. I mean, these are million-dollar questions that your P&L can answer. Here's a perfect, tangible example. One of the most important metrics, or KPIs, you can track is your payroll as a percentage of your revenue. Your P&L makes this calculation super easy. If you see that number creeping up from a healthy 15 to 20% into that danger zone above 25 or 30%, that is a massive red flag that you have to address immediately before it sinks the whole ship. So let's wrap this up. The goal here isn't just to teach you how to stay afloat, right? It's about giving you the tool you need to shift from this defensive survival mindset to an offensive strategy for actual growth and success. So please, don't look at your P&L as just a report card for last month's performance. You got to see it for what it truly is, a roadmap. Use it to build smarter budgets, to forecast your revenue with more accuracy, and to make truly strategic decisions about where to invest your precious time and capital. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. Every transaction, every payroll run, every single discount you give, they are all just data points telling you a story. Your business is constantly talking to you through its numbers. A P&L is simply how you learn the language. So the only question left is, are you ready to listen?